The day the Mafia King came to collect my ex's debt, I learned how quickly a life could split into before and after. I was standing behind the counter of a small cafe, wiping the same spot over and over because my hands wouldn't stop shaking, when the door opened and silence swallowed the room whole. He didn't need to announce himself. Power followed him like a shadow-tailored black coat, calm eyes and a smile that didn't reach them. Everyone else noticed too. Chairs scraped softly, conversations died, and instinct told people to look away. His men stayed near the entrance, but he walked straight toward me, slow and unhurried, like time itself bent around his steps. "You're not him," he said calmly, looking at my face as if checking a list in his mind. My throat tightened. I already knew why he was here. My ex had disappeared weeks ago. No goodbye, no explanation, just unpaid bills, broken promises, and debts I never asked for. "He left you," the man continued, not as a question, but as a fact. I nodded, barely able to breathe. That's when he smirked, just slightly, like he'd been handed something better than he expected. "Perfect," he murmured. "He ran. That makes you the collateral." Fear surged through me, sharp and paralyzing, but underneath it was anger, hot, reckless anger. "His debt isn't mine," I said, surprising myself with the steadiness in my voice. He leaned closer, lowering his tone so only I could hear. "In my world, someone always pays." His eyes searched my face, not with hunger, but with interest, as if I were a puzzle he hadn't planned to solve today. The cafe owner tried to intervene, but one glance from the man sent him retreating. The Mafia King straightened and gestured toward the door. "Come with me," he said. "We'll talk outside." The city felt too loud, too normal for what was happening. I expected force, threats, violence, but instead, he opened the car door himself. Inside, the air was calm, expensive, controlled. As the car moved, he spoke like a man discussing weather, not lives. He told me about the debt, about betrayal, about how my ex had begged for time and then vanished. "He thought leaving you behind would protect you," the man said with a quiet laugh. "Men like him always think too small." I asked what he wanted from me. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he watched the city pass, then turned to me with a look that made my pulse jump. "I want honesty," he said, "and I want you to understand something." He leaned in just enough for his words to feel heavy. "You're not a punishment. You're an opportunity." We arrived at a high rise overlooking the city, a place that screamed control and wealth. Inside, everything was quiet, polished, untouchable. He offered me water, then sat across from me, studying me openly. "You're calmer than most," he said. "That tells me you're stronger than you think." I didn't feel strong. I felt trapped, but something in his voice wasn't cruel. It was certain. He explained the rules. I would stay. I would be safe. No one would touch me without his permission. In return, I would listen, learn, and decide. "Decide what?" I asked. His smile returned slow, dangerous, confident. "Whether you remain someone's abandoned mistake," he said softly, "or become mine." That was the moment I realized this wasn't just about debt. This was about power, choice, and a man who never lost control. And as fear mixed with something I didn't want to name, I knew my life had already changed. Living under the Mafia King's roof felt like existing inside a storm that never touched the ground. Days passed in quiet luxury, but tension lived in every corner. He never rushed me, never raised his voice, never treated me like property, yet his presence was everywhere. He watched how I reacted to things, how I held my ground, how I refused to crumble. "You don't beg," he said one evening, almost amused. "That's rare." I told him I hated what my ex had done, how he used me as an escape, how he ran and left me to face monsters. The Mafia King listened without interruption, his expression unreadable. "He didn't leave you because of fear," he said finally. "He left because he knew he could never protect you." That sentence hurt more than any insult. Slowly, I began to understand the world I'd been pulled into. Not glamour, not chaos, but structure. Loyalty was currency. Weakness was exploited. Strength was respected. And somehow, he treated me like someone worth respecting. Then my ex resurfaced. He contacted me secretly, begging me to convince the Mafia King to forgive the debt. When I told him where I was, his panic turned to rage. "You're using him," he accused. I laughed for the first time in weeks. "No, I said. You used me. When the Mafia King found out about the message, I expected punishment. Instead, he smiled a sharp, satisfied smile. You see now, he said. Men reveal themselves when they're cornered. He arranged a meeting. My ex was brought in, shaking, desperate, smaller than I remembered. Watching him plead made something settle inside me. I felt no love, no pity, only clarity. The Mafia King stood beside me, silent but solid. When my ex tried to blame me, the Mafia King finally spoke. You don't get to speak to her like that, he said calmly. That was all. But the room went cold. The debt was resolved that night, not with blood, but with consequences far worse for a man like my ex. Exile, loss, erasure. When it was over, I expected to be dismissed, freed, forgotten. Instead, the Mafia King turned to me and asked a simple question. Do you want to leave? The answer terrified me. I realized that for the first time, someone had given me real choice. I wasn't staying because I was forced. I was staying because I wanted to see who I could become when I wasn't abandoned. I want to stay, I said. His expression softened, not possession, not victory, but approval. Then you stay on your terms, he replied. From that moment on, things changed. He taught me how power really worked, not through fear, but through control and loyalty. People listened when I spoke. Doors opened, and one night, standing beside him overlooking the city, he said the words that still echo in my mind. He left you because he couldn't handle your strength, he said quietly. I didn't take you because of his debt. I chose you because you don't break. That was when I understood the truth behind his smirk that first day. I wasn't a replacement. I was an upgrade. And if this story pulled you in, if you felt that shift from fear to power, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because the strongest stories are the ones where someone discovers they were never meant to be left behind.